This is ICAC Unpacked. I'm Norman Michaelation. Well, I wanted to report today on two things. One having to do with part three of my interrogation, the other one having to do with telling Mark's story out in Utah. But today, something else happened, actually, yesterday, and I spent a little time this morning reviewing the file again. But we've been telling you throughout that the police have been up to no good, and there's actually a secret recording that the report never explains exactly where the secret recording comes from, but somehow it is in play, and we now know that the police out of Millersville, Tennessee, are just the latest in a series of lying cops who have used nefarious little methods to try to entrap people and try to get confessions. Now, I should explain in advance, we don't know to what extent the people caught in these things were guilty or not. I suspect some were guilty. But when we're telling you, as we have been throughout here in Virginia and in other groups through Citizens Against Government Entrapment and others that have been like me entrapped in these things, and we say that the police are up to no good, the trolls come out, of course, and call us names, and I hope the trolls are really listening. I know it is 1 minute 24 seconds into the video. Usually they only read the title, but if you're actually listening, trolls, listen very carefully to this. So this comes out of, as I said, Millersville, excuse me, Tennessee. And because, of course, I don't know how to overlay the videos, I'm going to put the video here on my phone and I'm going to play it for you. And this is the news report out of News Channel 5 out of Nashville. And among other things, it found that there were unfound conspiracy theories about sex trafficking that the police were pushing that involved state officials. Unfounded claims that law enforcement was doing the stings, but actually they were subcontracting it out to predator groups that were allied with them. These predator groups would sometimes do the interviews once they captured people, as happened in one case where the person would not talk to police, and the predator groups bragged that they were able to get a confession out of the person. We also have a very disturbing case where a police officer actually states that they have pre-filled out warrants. They, to the extent that they use warrants at all, they fill it out in advance, which is a clear violation of law. And I don't know if the Justice Department of the U.S. government or the State Patrol or whoever is down there in Tennessee who might have oversight, but if they don't look into the troubled Millersville, which is how the news report calls it, troubled Millersville Police Department, they sure as hell should. So I want you to listen to this. If I can get this going here, of course, at this moment, everybody in the universe has to contact me right now. What happens when you give a gun and a badge to people who believe in and share bizarre conspiracy theories? Well, tonight, secret recordings from inside an operation run by the troubled Millersville Police Department provide a sobering answer to that question. Those secret recordings were obtained by News Channel 5 investigators from inside what was supposed to be a sting operation to nab child sexual predators. But as you are about to hear, in their zeal to make some big cases, Millersville conspiracy-minded cops appear to have crossed the line of what is legal. This is another exclusive dug up by our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, and what you've uncovered, we've heard some of it. It's disturbing.
Yeah, sick individuals prowling online spaces in search of children is a real concern for law enforcement, and agencies like the TBI have had real success in busting those predators.
That'd be Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They claim they have real success, but remember, they also are involved in the ICAC related stings where they actually don't catch anybody hurting any children at all. And that's something that they need an investigative report on as well.
But this Millersville operation appears to have been flawed from the very beginning.
I'm not authorized to just do this.
In the 15 years that Nick Leonardo has helped News Channel 5 sort through sometimes...
This is a prosecuting attorney.
That's so cool.
None compares to these secret recordings that we obtained from someone inside what was supposed to be a sting to catch child sex predators. That sting touted in this cheesy video posted online was run back in May
So they call themselves Team Mongoose, and they met in what looks like uh, could be anything really. It looks like a warehouse or something. And they allied with a local predator group, and this analyst, who's a attorney, is breaking down the rules that they have violated, the laws they violated.
Some of their theories are so bizarre. Are you worried about them affecting your credibility? I have no worries about that.
They're
As
interviewing the
National Light
sheriff.
Investigates first revealed, Sean Taylor had voiced support for all sorts of bizarre conspiracy theories, many of them involving child sex trafficking and some of the country's most powerful political figures.
So be real careful, especially when it comes to our state agencies.
In a phone call in the run-up to the Millersville sting, Taylor once again reveals his conspiracy-fueled
This is
paranoia,
the assistant chief,
insisting
excuse
that
me.
the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and other state law enforcement agencies are involved in the child sex trafficking.
So we just gotta be real careful with them, because we have people that we've already identified.
This is Sean Taylor, assistant chief.
It's unhinged. It's unhinged. It is very dangerous. In fact, this team photo for Operation Clean Sweep, as Taylor dubbed it, consisted of just 5 police officers from Millersville, none with actual experience running child sex stings.
That's the other thing that we're noticing. As with Detective Bauer in my case, the officers have no experience running sex stings and therefore no business running sex stings. Where is the operational control where you have a senior officer who's experienced, even if it's from another department who can train them, where they're actually running these things properly? ICAC has comprehensive training programs, and in those training programs, they're very thorough, terribly dishonest, but very thorough. Why didn't they do any of that training themselves?
Denied. There were also 2 MAGA podcasters and this man, former Navy SEAL Craig.
MAGA, Make American Great podcasters, were also involved.
Sawyer now routinely makes unfounded claims, raising money for his own nonprofit called the Veterans for Child Rescue. Although
That's another thing that they will do oftentimes. They have fake charities, fake child rescue operations. OUR with Tim Ballard out on the West Coast, same thing. Here it's a veterans group, supposedly Veterans for Child Rescue, collecting money, producing no results.
there's no evidence that his group has ever rescued any actual children. And here behind closed doors, Sawyer talks about his own bizarre hopes for his work with Sean Taylor.
So, right, leftist, corrupt, pedophile, sure.
We're gonna have search warrants that are already, they'll have to meet certain parameters for us to execute the search warrant, but they're gonna be pre-signed search warrants.
And so a
Pre-signed
search
search
warrant
warrant.
cannot be pre-signed. You have to see what's going on, and you have to put that into a warrant, and you have to swear to that individually in front of a judge, and that becomes the probable cause.
Is a pre-signed search warrant going to stand up in court?
A pre-signed search warrant would be a criminal offense in and of itself.
In the recordings, a member of Sawyer's team reveals a deal with Sean Taylor where Millersville PD would seize data from any suspects and share that data with Sawyer's group, people who are not sworn law enforcement officers.
They're gonna dump their phones, and they've agreed to give us their contact lists off their phones.
But there's no.
This is the Veterans for Child Rescue, which is a non an affiliated group, but an illegal affiliation. They have no law enforcement training. They're not sworn officers, and they're being pulled into this operation by the local police to assist. And there's no reason why they should. It's completely unorthodox. It's terribly illegal, and it jeopardizes any legitimate investigations.
Reason whatsoever that any kind of evidence, electronic data that's seized from any kind of device pursuant to a valid search warrant should ever be in the hands of a private individual.
Right.
In our case, you literally create a profile within 10 seconds. It's one of the partners say, hey baby, blah 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 blah.
And the video shows it was members of Craig Sawyer's team actually doing the chatting, posing online as a 12-year-old girl. But listen to what Sean Taylor says he was told about how it had to be done to make it legal.
So we just talked over DA. And so with the Tennessee state law, it says that the officer has to do the actual typing. That with our law, it says that it has to be a law enforcement officer posing as a minor.
Clearly, it needs to be a post-certified sworn law enforcement officer on the other side of that computer tapping those keys.
They needed videos of that law enforcement chatting.
I'm not getting your faces.
Yeah, I'm cool with it, but they wanted to show law enforcement, not us touching the phones.
And the fact that they end up with people who are not law enforcement officers tapping the keys, those cases are in trouble.
Those cases are in serious
They'll
trouble.
be thrown out.
The plan was to try to lure the predators to this jail station here in Robertson County because they also thought the prosecutor in this district would be more likely to work with them on
So they're also prosecutor shopping.
This is one of the detectives from that scene just talking.
Maybe there's best friend of the district attorney in Robertson County. They went to high school together. So he said, let's put this here so I can talk to them. We lock everything in.
Yeah.
So
So prosecutor shopping in the good old boy network.
And when they did get one suspect who had bicycled up I-65 from Nashville thinking he was going to have sex with a 12-year-old girl, Millersville police took the man into custody.
Yeah.
They said he was pillow like a son of a bitch.
And the recording showed the suspect was brought here to this fire station. He didn't want to talk to police, so they turned him over
He's brought to
Craig
a fire
Sawyer's
station, not a police office station. A camera crew from a predator hunter site went in. This is the detective. Yeah, that's not allowable into evidence oftentimes, and that's a great way to throw out these legitimate cases. So here you have legitimate cases being unusable and no justice there for any real victims. Of course, there aren't any real victims at all, but you also have many ruinous cases coming in where you're just screwing with people for no reason. And they're just happy to make sure that they do get a name for themselves, that they look good, and presumably there's money involved, although the report does not speak to any particular money involved at all. But it is curious that they violate every single rule that they possibly can, as well as push conspiracy theories. There's a couple more minutes here.
Filming it. It's not coming into evidence. It's just not.
This guy could walk. Probably would.
He certainly would walk. Certainly would walk based on the facts that we're going over here. I don't see how this prosecution could stick.
Still, the suspect was booked into the Robertson County Jail, which the detective grimly hints could be his last stop.
Well, honestly, I wouldn't doubt he gets come up missing in the jail.
Yeah, I agree. I would like that.
That's a Robertson County thing, though. You put up Robertson, Murray, Hickman, Monroe, and Giles.
That's a Robertson County thing to have people.
What does that mean? What does he know that the rest of us do not?
Essentially, it sounds like he's saying, we're taking him to a jurisdiction where we don't think he'll come out alive.
Well, yeah,
Right.
That could be the inference that's drawn.
That's a logical inference drawn.
That calls for an investigation by the TBI to determine what is meant by that.
Nick Leonardo says he believes Millersville PD is now a rogue agency where conspiracy theorists have decided the laws do not apply to themselves. From what you've heard in these recordings, is this a police department that's out of control?
It sounds to me like it's a police department that had never had control. This is jeopardizing the safety of the citizens of the city of Millersville, and something needs to be done.
So again, it has nothing to do with public safety. It has everything to do with public approbation. It has to do with ginning up stats, and they don't really care who they particularly hurt. Now, if you want to be super charitable, you could say that the police were trying to do the right thing. They were trying to protect kids. They were allied with certain groups that had a reputation that they thought was a positive reputation, these veterans for children or whatever the group is called. But at the end of the day, you're violating people's civil rights. You are jeopardizing investigations. you are not following proper procedure, and you're putting the entire police department, which the Millersville people depend upon, in jeopardy. And so, again, it's just like we've been saying through Citizens Against Government Entrapment, through justice oriented groups like HEAL here in Virginia, that we are very much concerned about how police are throwing their weight around in order to gin up statistics to make it appear that there is a public safety crisis. And the sad thing is, we won't know the degree to which there's a crisis because they can't seem to get their thumbs off the scale. This is Norman Michaelation for ICAC Unpacked. Have a good day.